and check to make sure that your answer's right, and you would have caught the mistake that I just put up here. Okay, and again, I'm going to be posting this into my courses so that you have this to refer to. All right, let's take one other one, and then I really need to move on. We can try factoring. Doesn't lend itself to square root, but again, the quadratic formula always works. So if I try to take the factors of 5 and the factors of 4 and try to put them together to get a middle term of positive 12x, it's not going to work. So let's go right to the quadratic formula. X is equal to, A is 5, B is positive 12, C is positive 4. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. X is equal to, and always x is equal to. It's the variable. This is a formula. Just don't start with the right-hand side. X is equal to should be there as well. So we're getting negative 12 plus or minus the square root of 12 squared is 144. And minus 4 times 5 times 4 is going to give you minus 80 over 2 times 5 is 10. We have x is equal to negative 12 plus or minus the square root of 144 minus 80 is 64 over 10. So x is equal to negative 12 plus or minus the square root of 64 is 8 over 10. So we're getting negative 12 and negative 8 is negative 20 over 10 is negative 2. The other solution is negative 12 plus 8, or negative 4 over 10, or negative 2/5. Questions on that? All right, that finishes section 1.2. Want to go to section 1.4. Okay, now we can have equations that are not linear or not quadratic, but we're going to use the skills that we used in linear and quadratic. So the first thing I want to do is factor out an x. It's common to both of these two terms. And I get x squared plus 1 equals 0. Factoring is important. Factoring an x out. And I'm getting x squared plus 1. So again, by the zero product property, these two quantities, x and x squared plus 1, multiplying to give you 0, one or both of them have to be equal to 0. So I'm setting these two factors equal to 0. 0 works. 0 cubed plus 0 is 0. That works. But if I take x squared equals negative 1, there is no solution for that because I can't square a real number and get a negative. Therefore, there is just the solution of x equals 0 for the problem. Let's look at another one. Now, I can multiply both sides by 3x minus 2 times 3x plus 2. Or, since I have two fractions equal to each other, we can cross multiply. That's another way to solve the problem. So I'm going to multiply x plus 1 times 3x plus 2. Multiplying the top left times the bottom right. Now I'm going to multiply the top right by the bottom left. I'm cross multiplying. And I'm writing these in parentheses because they're binomials. All right, now I want to expand, multiply these out. 3x times x is 3x squared. The outside is positive 2x. The inside is positive 3x. And 1 times 2 is 2. On the right-hand side, 5x times 3x is 15x squared. The outside product is negative 10x. The inside product is negative 12x. And the last terms of each is positive 8. Simplify the left-hand side. 3x squared, combining similar or like terms, is plus 5x plus 2 equals 15x squared minus 22x plus 8. Now I have a quadratic equation. So now I need to get all of the terms to one side and set it equal to 0. So I'm going to move everything to the right. So I'm going to subtract 3x squared, I'm going to subtract 5x, and I'm going to subtract 2. Yes. Somebody got a question?
No, I was
No.
seized.
Okay, oh, okay. So now, and I'm going to put it on the left-hand side equal to 0. So 15x squared minus 3x squared is 12x squared. A minus 22x and a minus 5x is minus 27x. And a positive 8 and a negative 2 is positive 6 equals 0. Now, I can factor out what's common to each one of those terms. And what's common to each one of those terms is 3. So I can factor out 3. And I have 4x squared minus 9x plus 2 equals 0. Now, 3 is a factor, but setting 3 equal to 0 is not going to give us a solution. Now I'm going to move to the next page, and I'm going to move and rewrite that bottom line because I'm running out of room here. So I'm going to rewrite that. 3 times 4x squared minus 9x plus 2 equals 0. So it's just what I had on the bottom line, but I'm, again, running out of room. So 3 is a factor, and now we could use any of those methods I talked about before, but let's try factoring and see if that works. So we're going to get the factors of 4 and the factors of 2 that are going to give us a middle term of a negative 9x. So you can do trial and error here, but we're going to have 4x times x, and I'm going to have 2 times 1 because I want an 8 and a 1 to give me 9. If I make both of them negative, I get a negative 9x, and a negative times a negative is a positive 2. 2, I'm not going to set 3 equal to 0, but I am going to set 4x minus 1 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. So 4x is equal to 1, x is equal to 1/4, x is equal to 2. 2 solutions. Now, because I had a fraction, I'm just going to go back to here for a minute. If I put in 1/4, and if I put in 2, I do not get division by 0. I want to check that, because that's important. Just because I ended up with the two solutions of 1/4 and 2, doesn't mean they both stay. They only stay if they don't create a problem like division by 0. So always check that. Okay, questions on that? Yeah.
How are you getting a 9 in the middle? Or like, why do you have -1 and -2?
Because by FOIL, 4x times x is 4x squared, but the outside is -8x, the product of the inside terms is -1x, and -8x and -1x is -9x. You still don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see the 8.
Okay, I'm
Oh,
multiplying by
okay.
FOIL.
Because of the 4 and the 2. Okay.
Right, the product here is -8x, the product here is -1x, and the inside